There are three reasons why I particularly enjoyed the Rum Diary, despite what I had expected. The 2011 film stars Johnny Depp, which is the main reason that I saw it. I will be completely honest, if Johnny Depp wasn't in it, I wouldn't have seen it. And would I enjoyed it? Would I have enjoyed it as much if he wasn't in it? To a degree. I do think that there is a level of bias there for me because I do just love everything he does. However, I didn't think I'd like the film based on one particular factor, and I can say that actually that's one of the reasons why I really liked it. So there won't be any spoilers in this video or audio, so if you haven't seen the film and just want to know if you should, I personally would recommend it. It's listed on IMDb as a comedy drama. I don't think it's that funny as such, but it has its moments, and there's a little bit of dark humour in there, which I personally enjoyed. The narrative, I will just read out the description from IMDb, is as follows. American journalist Paul Kemp takes on a freelance job in Puerto Rico for a local newspaper during the 1960s and struggles to find a balance between island culture and the expatriates who live there. This film is directed by Bruce Robinson and is visually very pleasing. Other cast members include Aaron Eckhart, Amber Heard, Giovanni, Ribisi, a few other names, quite a few names I don't recognise, which is always interesting to kind of be introduced to new actors. So, the narrative itself is really interesting. I love anything where the protagonist is a journalist. As a writer myself, I always find that really fascinating, and I like to look at how they portray those characters. You know, sometimes they're really positive, sometimes they're portrayed as being really annoying. This one has a really happy balance, and I really like that, and you know, Depp as a journalist, absolutely love it. The fact that it's set in the 60s, I really liked. I love films that were made in the 60s, but I love films that were made in this century that look back at decades. Because I think it's always a really interesting take to see which elements of that decade have kind of been preserved in memory to make it feel real. And certainly I feel like it has the vibes of the 60s. But the one bit where I wasn't sure if I'd like it or not was the fact that it's set in Puerto Rico. I will be honest, when I watch films, I tend to watch films where I'm going to be able to relate to it. So whether it's set in a location that I'm familiar with, or it's about a topic I'm familiar with. But 1960s Puerto Rico, like, I have no knowledge of what that would have been like. Or at least I didn't until I watched the film. Granted, I can't count for the accuracy of the portrayal of that time period in that location, but watching it, I found it so appealing, and I didn't expect to. So for me, the way that this has been presented is visually really wonderful. It's got quite a dusty colour palette to it. It's not like a bright, colourful film, but that completely works, and I think gives off this great atmosphere. So for me, the setting I worried would be a drawback for me. And actually, it turns out to be one of the things I really enjoyed about this. The character of Kemp is really engaging. I like following his journey. I like to see things through his perspective. I found him very interesting and obviously well portrayed by Depp. The narrative development is very good. It's not, for me, the most gripping development. I can't really say too much about it without giving away any spoilers or anything. But yeah, there was nothing about the narrative that I thought was jarring or that felt unbelievable or unnatural. It's just not the narrative for me that made me go, this is the best story I've ever heard. It's a good narrative. I think you'll probably like it. As I said, the visuals are stunning. It has a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb, which I think is fair. I think that's probably a fair rating. I would probably give it a 4 out of 5 at a push. If I could give it a 3.9 out of 5, I would. But there's nothing wrong with this film. That's not to say it's perfect, but for me, I enjoyed it from start to finish, and the fact that I didn't think I would really just makes it better. If you've seen the Rum Diary, let me know what you think of it. Let me know if it was what you expected. For me, it definitely wasn't. It was a lot better. And, you know, if you were disappointed by it, let me know that too as well, because, you know, we all have different expectations and we all want different things from films, which is one of the great things about, you know, having variety. But I'm very thankful that Depp was cast in this, otherwise I wouldn't have seen it. Let me know what you think of The Rum Diary.